In this video, I will be showing you how to add sounds to a bus and also how to duplicate a bus. First thing I'm going to do is do the sounds. The sounds is the easiest part. So, say I'm going to be using the CSDS 04 or A3 pack, the old one, because I know those could be duplicated. So if I want to add sounds, I need to find other sounds. So you could record those off of buses from YouTube or use existing sounds like I'm going to do. So I'm going to use sounds from my, what's it called? Well, it's not mine. I don't know what it's called. I'm just going to get the sounds from it. I know it's the DT466E. It should be in here somewhere. So that's for the tailpipe. Let's see here. Is idlet. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. So you might want to make a folder somewhere. I'm just going to make it on the desktop. Just name it what you want on basically just name it whatever you want. But I'm naming it DT466E so I know what sounds are in there. Alright, now that we've got our sounds, we can start working on a sound script. Now you can make a new one or use an existing one. I'm going to use an existing one. So let's go ahead and do that. I need to put this back in my packs folder. That's not what I'm trying to do. Here it is. Okay, so here's the A3 pack again. So the first thing you want to do when you're adding the sounds is add the sounds in that you're going to use if they're not already in the pack. And what I like to do is just have all the files sorted by type. So that you got your XMLs in one place, waves in another, so it's not as confusing as just looking for them in alphabetical order. So what I'm going to do is copy over all the sounds that I'm going to be using. After I do that, I'm going to type in .soundscript in the pack you want to change the sounds for. Make sure you open this up in Notepad. Okay, so what you want to do for this is make a new entry into this file. I'm going to do the engine first. So the first thing you want to do is give it a name. I'm going to type in DT466. Then you're going to want to press enter and have a open bracket. You're going to press enter again and then type in essentially what you see for all these engines. The Cummins 5, 9, Turbo D, just copy some stuff like that. Now we're not going to press space for this, we're going to press tab. I could have copied and pasted this, but I just felt like typing out. It's very important that you put a space between the 5 and 1 and not a tab. Now you're going to add your sounds. In my case, it's just called idle. Then there's a combined item, idle and medium, and then a high. Although I need to go back into the other bus pack to see what I'm supposed to do with it. Alright, so this tells me that I just put the low medium once. It's also important to make this sound have a pitch, because if it doesn't have a pitch, it's just going to be a static sound. Now I'm going to have this built up more like how you see with that. So I'm going to make the idle sound 800. The 0.0 is necessary. Then for the sound, I'm going to put idle.wave, although you are going to put whatever you set for the name of the file. Now we're going to move on to the next one. Now the low medium, I'm not sure what to do for this one. Let me look at the truck file once more for the other bus or sound file. Okay, so it tells me exactly what I need to do. So since this has a low medium, I'm going to make this 1575. Although if you have, alright, the thing cut out. So if you have a separate low and medium, you're going to use the low and medium for the original sounds of the bus. This one would be 1500 and 2150, although we're using 1575 since it's just a low medium. For the low mids, I make sure that I've done it right. Yep, I did that right. So now it comes to the high. It's going to be the same number as the old high. Then give it the name of the high, whether it's C7 high, 67 high, 466 high, but mine's just high. Then now that we have all of our sounds for the engine, we're going to press enter and put a closed bracket. Now we're going to work on a starter. Now just name this, you can put whatever you want, but I recommend keeping some sort of order so you know what everything is. So I'm going to put DT466 underscore starter. Well, not even underscore, just put DT466E start. And you still have to do the same thing from above, although this time we're just going to put trigger source. I believe it's starter. I'll have to double check that. That took longer than it needed to type out. Alright, so it should say starter. Now we don't need any gain source or gain factors for this one, since it's all unpitched. So for this sound, actually I did that wrong. This is going to be the start sound. Always put unpitched here, because if you don't, as it starts, it's just gonna get higher and higher pitch, going faster and faster and faster. But we just want a static pitch, so it doesn't get ear-piercingly loud when it's about to start up. Then we're gonna tab out again. This time we're gonna put the name for the first sound of the starter, or if you don't have one, leave this off. Since I have one, I'm going to put start 1. And this name will vary for what the starter name is called. Next, we're going to do the sound, so it's just like what we did up top. Except instead of putting a number, we're going to put unpitched. Alright, now that we got that done, it's time for the final one, the stop sound. Now we could do it like this, although alternatively we could add this to the engine, but since I forget which one I used for the engine, I'm not going to do that. Oh wait, yes I do know that, it's the DT466E. So if you want it to just crank, but then if you let go you don't want to hear the stop sound and you want the stop sound to play when the actual bus starts up, you can add the start sound to the engine like this. So you'll just copy and paste what you put here. Then go to the top, paste that on there. Make sure it's tabbed out, but change it to start sound. And then it'll play when the bus actually cranks and not when you let off the key. Although I'm not going to do this for simplicity's sake. Alright, so now that we've done this, we're going to save the sound script. So you want to click File, Save As, and then save it in the folder you want to save it in. In my case, this is DT466E. Then what you want to do after this is not click Save, but click Save as Type, then click All Files. Now it'll still save as a text file until you get a part of the file name off of there, and then put it back on. So just do this. Also, if yours doesn't show a file extension, so it might look like this. Or like that. So what you would want to do is click the .text, change that to all files, and then type .soundscript. Then hit save. It's important that this has the same name as the sound script from the bus that you're replacing, or you'll have two sound scripts to work with, and I prefer just to have the one. We're not done with the sound script yet because you'll need to copy and paste these names on the bus. So we're going to look for a .truck file, so you can either search for that or scroll down if you have it set to type. So here's the truck files here. I'm going to use 410 as an example. So from here, what you want to do is scroll down until you find something called sound sources 2, or just sound sources depending on the bus. So what I'm going to do is find what the file we're looking for. So this uses Cummins 5.9 Turbo D2. I think that's just a turbo actually. Let me see. Let me see if that is the turbo. It is not the turbo, so I'm going to replace that with DT466E. I like to copy and paste that in just because. Now don't copy and paste this entire thing, just do the name, and I forgot to put the closing bracket on that. That could have been bad, because then the starter wouldn't work and it would go all onto the ignition and it just wouldn't work. Alright, so now we're good to go. So just copy and paste Cummins 5.9 Turbo D2 or whatever your engine sound is, and replace it with the sounds that you're going to use. In my case, it's DT466E. Then do the same thing. Recording cut out again. So now we're going to do the same thing with the starter. So mine is called Cummins 5.9 ISB underscore start. Gonna replace that with DT466E start. Or whatever you're using. So now the truck file for this is finished sound wise. So now I'm gonna hit File, Save As. Same thing, if it only has the name, I'm gonna switch that to all files and type out .truck. Mine says .truck, so I'm just gonna take the K off of .truck and put it back on. Now if I hit save, 410.truck is now in here, so let's just move that back into the pack. And there we go, it's installed. So now let's test the new sounds in game. My game might take a little bit to load up. It's got a bunch of packs it needs to load. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this shader off. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to the simple test terrain. Now I'm going to spawn bus 410. So something clearly isn't right because I don't hear the sounds. So that clearly works. Somewhat. I guess this could be used as an example of some of the frustration you'll go through. Okay, so here's part of the problem. That didn't stay deleted. The starter works perfectly fine, but for some reason the engine isn't. Here we go, I forgot the pitch source. Alright, so now I'll put this back in here and the sound should start back working. Alright, so now that I've gotten this, I should be able to hear the sounds. Alright, so we can hear the sounds now. So now we move on to duplication, and I'm gonna have to probably renew the recording in a minute. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna renew the recording real quick. Alright, so now for duplication, We just need the truck file and I believe the original bake file as well. Alright, so what you want to do is look for the bake file in here, if it's in here. If it's not in the truck file, that means the bus was AO baked and you would need Blender to do it. And I'm not too good with Blender, so I can't help you on that one. But for the one that's baked through the truck file, this should be a piece of cake. So I'm going to be looking for body exterior. So, and here's the bake right here. It says 04 BBA3 body 7 underscore A3 bake. This, and the bake is 4204 bake.png. So this is the name of the bake that's going to be used for this bus. Alright, so you're going to want to open the bake itself into an image editor. I like to use paint.net. So I'm going to just make a few slight changes to the bus. So I'm just going to essentially just do whatever. I'm going to color the bus white in a few places. That way we know that this would work. The original didn't have a white roof, so I guess giving it some sort of white roof would be plausible. I'm also going to take the number off, but very poorly, because I don't really feel like picking the colors and all sorts of that. But if you actually wanted to put an actual lettering, what you would do is use the pick tool, pick the color of the body, or if it's a textured body, what you do is you would select around it and then just drag this across if you would like to keep the texture. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and drag this across right now. And then you'd put the side lettering and the number that you would want on here. So just for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to put something random on here. Nah, I'm not going to put that. What should I put? I'm just going to put school bus on the side. It's also best to do this in all capitals unless that's a spec thing. You should also do this in a different font than the default font. Like, you should probably get Highway Gothic or something like that. Or Helvetica or something. I'm going to use Highway Gothic since that's the Bluebird font. At least I think it is. And also make sure it's not that cartoonishly large of lettering. And make it slightly smaller like that. And then I'm just going to give it the number 69. Now this bake is actually generous and has it easy to edit because both of these are facing the same way, although most of buses actually don't do this. So now we're going to do the other side of the bus. So I'm just going to color this over. And again, I'm going to put school bus on it. And then we're going to change the number as well, but I honestly hate how when you press Control, it moves you over here. Especially since Control is the push to talk key, because I don't want this activated all the time. I'm just going to leave that like that. Now the back EC number is a little tricky. At least I think it is on this bus. Yeah, it is. It's got texture, although me being me, I colored over it. I don't normally color over them now, I just kind of use this method here. But if you don't feel like doing that, you could always color over it, like I foolishly did. And now you get to keep the texture. So I'm going to put the number on here. And now I'm going to reopen the bake again just to make sure I have it in the, make sure I can put it in the right position so it doesn't look upside down on the bus. Most y'all will probably be able to know if it's right or not just by looking at it, but I have to make sure because I forget easily. That's upside down. There we go. So now that we've gotten the bake done, we're going to save it. I'm going to put in the same DT466E folder. However, we're not going to leave it with the same name. We're going to change it to something else. I'm going to name it KFC. So now that we know where the bake is in here, we're going to change the name from 4204 Bake to KFC. Now there's also the front bumper and the back bumper. Back bumper looks the same on all of them, but the front bumper is what we're looking for. Alright, so now we're going to open this up. Alright, so now I'm going to flip it clockwise to get that right. Now you could just take it off and leave it like that, but I'm going to put another number back. I don't like how I have to keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger just to have it fit. There we go, so now that we've gotten that, I'm going to go back clockwise so it looks like this. It looks like I opened it twice on accident. You know, don't hit the save button. And then I'm just going to name this. Well, actually, first let me go to the DT466E folder, and now just name this whatever you want. I'm just going to name it 25. Alright, so now do the same thing you did for the body bake, except look for the bumper bake. Highlight it and then name it what you changed it to. So I'm going to put 25. Now save the truck file. Oh yeah, and you should also probably change the name too. So I'm going to change this to 414. And now hit File, Save As, and then change it to say something like 414.trucker or whatever you want to name it. Make sure it's set to all files, and then I'm going to take the K off and put it back on. So now we have a whole new truck file. So I'm going to drag and drop 414.truck into the zip file. I'm also going to drag and drop the texture files in there too. I also forgot that control click selects things out of order, so probably should let go control when I try and drag and drop something in. Alright, so that should be everything. Let me make sure. Alright, I got everything, so now I'm going to load up rigs and rods. Now, I'm going to hit cancel real quick so I can get to the main menu, and I'm going to hit settings, and then I'm going to update all the cache. This will allow the new truck file to show up in the menu, because while it lets you do sound scripts, if you add a new truck file, it just kind of skips over it. So let's go to single player, simple test terrain. Got to turn off the shader. And here's 414, so if we spawn it, we have the new skin as well as the white roof. And to be sure that 410 hasn't changed, or if it has, it was probably an accident. 410 hasn't changed. Well, other than the sounds. Well, that's strange. Probably something I messed up when making the file. But here's 410, the original, and here's 69, the new one. As you can see, they're completely duplicated. So that's really all you need to do. As long as it's not AO baked. It's AO baked. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe Jasper's got a video on something on that. But for now, this is all I really have to show you.